Morning. Welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev.
Good morning.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. I got into I've shared a little bit about my journey as far as going to the gym, right? So in 2019, at the beginning of 2019, I was excited. I got signed up. Started going on a consistent, regular basis, was seeing the changes in my body. And just so you know, to help with that, if you don't want to get on a scale to measure your progress, take a picture of yourself every day, or at least once a week, and then compare. That helps a lot because I'm the type I prefer not to get on a scale. Just let my clothes tell me, but those pictures were awesome. So then I was good for the year, and then 2020 came and fell off that routine and didn't proceed with a routine at home, and have gotten out of a regular like getting up schedule, waking up schedule, and so sleeping in later. And so this is day 3 of getting up just a little after 5 a.m. to go to the gym. So I almost need toothpicks, but not quite there yet. But I feel good. I feel good. I mean, I'm getting, I just know because over the weekend I didn't go to the gym. And now, don't get me wrong, I've been going to the gym for the past couple months, only it's been in the afternoon so I could sleep in. So I have been going, but what I've noticed is when I don't go, like over the weekend, I didn't go and I could feel it in my body. It feels a little stiffer. It feels, it's not really aches and pains, it just feels out of sorts. Let me put it that way, because I'm not stretching or moving my body to help it, be limber and flexible.
That movement, it makes a big difference. It really does.
Yeah. So,
but I'm all for sleeping in. For me, like I don't get up till like 8 or 8:30 most days. So if I wake up earlier, I wake up earlier. It's as long as I don't wake up to an alarm, as long as I'm waking up on my own, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
awesome. That's what I was doing. And with the amount of tasks that are on my plate to have an online business, I have to be mindful of how I'm utilizing my time. And we have 24 hours in a day. I have 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. It just is what I need to do to stay on top of things right now until I get into a position where I can have more help. So, yeah, I'm feeling actually pretty good. So
good. That's awesome.
Yeah. How about you? What's happening?
Everything's going good, actually. I mean, I got a little bit of a, I don't know, something. I got a little bit of a cough. That's about it. A little bit of throat stuff, but otherwise I feel really good. Just been, I stumbled across a person recently because I like to listen to different podcasts and stuff or YouTubes. And I stumbled across this person and it kind of totally resonated with me because you look forward to getting up and doing all that stuff. I like to sleep in. I love sleeping. I like to, every time I wake up, I'm actually very happy to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, because then I have an opportunity to go back and start clear my chakras, meditating. There's just so much stuff that comes forward for me. And I don't notice it. You can't do it by looking for it. I just start going through each one of the chakras and going up through the body. So, and different stuff comes forward. But this gentleman I was listening to, he's like, I don't advertise. That's just not me. And that's not for everybody. That's just for me. I know that that's just not something that I can look to, or I mean, I could if I wanted to, but it's just not something that vibes with me. He's like saying, don't dig, don't go digging for stuff, because that basically, when we start digging, we take ourselves back into that 3D because we're thinking there's a problem and looking for a problem. And it's just we've talked about letting the, stuff kind of come forward, let the triggers happen. The triggers are friggin' awesome. They help motivate you and move you forward. It's not, unless you're in a victim place. And if you're in a victim place, it's like, oh my God, here it comes again, But if you're not, then you're like, oh my God, here it comes again. I got something else I get to let go of, and I'm going to go that much higher. And it's just awesome, because it's like we evolved so much that it's just nice to hear certain things like that. It just kind of gives you a reminder, like, oh, because sometimes for me, I would feel like there was something wrong with me because I don't like the same things that Amie does or likes, not does. I don't like the same things that my kids like. I don't like the same thing. It's not all the same because we're so different. All of us are so different, and there's nothing wrong with that. And really, it's learning to know there's nothing wrong with that from the inside. It's not, because even for me, I was still like, that's still comparing. I'm still like thinking, gosh, how come I don't feel like that? I had a person at the gym recently say, it's so nice for you ladies to come into the gym, because there's not a lot of ladies that come into the gym, and that you guys work out and you're focused and everything like that. And it's like, well, for me, and he says, you're not here to judge. And I said, well, we don't judge. If I look at someone else, I'm like thinking, okay, that's what I want to achieve. That's something that is in my experience that I can accomplish. I'm witnessing it. It's just like us witnessing or giving. I don't know. We feel like we have more choices when someone else kind of says, so what? I cry. So what? I have emotions. So what? I'm angry sometimes, because we just give someone else a different perspective and allow them to grow and see that it's okay. I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm feeling like there's nothing wrong with me. Even if I have these feelings, or, sometimes I'll think there's something wrong with me. We don't realize how much stuff we put on our body, like thinking there's something wrong. Oh gosh, my throat's bothering me. I might have strep throat. I might have COVID. I might have, we start going through all this processes, and we're doing that. We're like matching up with these energies. We don't even realize how much. And when you're manifesting, which we know we're freaking master manifestors, like that shit shows up quick. It does. It just does. And it's like, oh, okay. So again, it's going back to a lot of the stuff we talk about. But I'm going through these experiences too, because it never changes. It never stops. You still keep going through this, and you still start witnessing like, oh shit, I'm doing that still. And it's like, what am I creating right now? So it's like just a lot of awareness. A lot of awareness is going on. I feel like we're on the edge of something huge, and it's like, let's just jump. And it's like we're all like standing on this edge, and it's just not. We're almost there. And then I'll probably be like, holy shit, hold on, we don't want to let go of that cliff. But that's where it feels like right now. It feels like there's a big, huge shift happening, and we're just not all seeing it yet. And I don't know if it's a matter of us seeing it as it is a matter of us feeling it. A matter of us celebrating where we came from, or how far we've grown, or I don't know. It just feels like we're on this precipice, and we're just about to take this ginormous leap. And while we're there, it's like, oh, let's just do it already.
Right. Where we cause the resistance because we're forcing something to happen sooner than it needs to, or
exactly
sooner than we actually want it to, because it would be beneficial if we did go through the whole process and allow it to unfold instead of push it, right?
Or recognize if we're already there. So the thing, because if I have that feeling and we think that we're always on this place, then we're always going to be on that place waiting for this leap. And it's like, what are you waiting for? There's nothing to wait for. So it's like, this is the processes that I'm going through all the time. I'm questioning, like I'll say things, and then it's like, or I'll think things, and then I'm like processing it. Like, why are you thinking like that? Do you realize how limiting that is? Limiting.
We make up words, and it's okay. It's okay.
That's all right. It's all right. You catch it. That's all.
You hear what we're saying. You say what we're hearing. I don't know. It's just being silly.
Yeah.
And a shift can be hard or amazing. I just wrote that down. It's going to be the title of this podcast. And you feel like there's a shift coming. I think a lot of people are feeling that, because I'm hearing that quite a bit in conversations in the mastermind groups, the business groups, and that are energetically aware and tuned into that. No different than 2 years ago, a shift happened, but it was so out of the norm and on such a great scale that people kind of freaked out, kind of went into depression, felt disconnected. Just it was a shift, and so it can be hard, or it can be amazing. Typically, what makes it hard is that people just don't like change, and so when you go to bed and then you wake up the next day and things are different, do you adapt? Are you flexible? Or do you have a freak out moment? Right. And so, because I've been really diving into business and business perspective and operations and all that, in business, you have to be flexible. There's no if, and, or but about it. It's like you have to be flexible to move with the flow of the changes. You have to be adaptable. So, it went from, you could go into a restaurant to, all right, well, how can we be flexible with this? Well, we can just offer delivery or drive-through or pickup, right? Like that's where it went. So the restaurants or fast food places or whatever that were adaptable and flexible survived. They were creative in continuing business in a different way. And that's just when it comes to life, is learn to live in a different way, because we have blinders on. We only see one perspective. We see life through this tunnel. But when you take those blinders off, and turn your head and look around, there's so much available to us, and help. And this is something that's, in my experience a lot recently, is, we still have the stories, Bev and we still have the stories that creep up, and having a very independent type of personality where I'm going to figure it out, because if I can't figure it out, that means I'm not good enough. And that means that I'm not good enough, then I'm not going to be loved and accepted, right? The whole shebang. So I'm in a space right now to be very, very coachable, because that's asking for help and following the guidance that's being provided. So there's a few things in the works right now for myself with my business, and it takes a lot of coaching on me receiving the coaching. And it's just learning to surrender to that, and to know that people are here to help. They're not here to judge you in the fact that you're not good enough. Right? Because if I knew it, I wouldn't need help. So, but on the flip side of that, even if I know things, but again, going back to my time, I have somebody doing things for me that I can do, I know how to do, I'm good at. That's not where I want to spend my time though. So I have somebody else doing it, right? So people are here to help, and it's okay to ask. And
it's good to ask. Yeah.
So when more and more people are talking about, like years ago, if you had therapy, then that was a bad thing, right? If you went to a therapist, then, oh my God, something's wrong with you. Well, yeah, I mean, let's be real. There is something wrong with me because I need therapy, right? So, and I can't figure it out on my own. More and more people are going to therapy and talking about it openly. Like, hey, Bev, I got a therapy session I gotta go to because I'm working out some shit, right? So people are like being more open about that. Lots and lots and lots of people, like millions of people right now on the planet, are getting coaching. A life coach, business coach, career coach, finance coach, whatever topic, there's a coach for it. And so it's like for me, as an example from going through my life and my stories and shifting and changing and growing, I recognize that there are other people out there like me. We are not identical, but we have similar stories or similar struggles. So I became a coach to help those who desire the help in shifting and changing. So if you need help with anything, there's somebody out there who's figured it out and are providing those services.
And the thing is, it's their passion. The thing is to go with your passions. What are your passions? And when you ask for help, you're giving someone else the opportunity to find their passions or to explore in their passion of, doing whatever it is that you're needing. Because it's not for us to want to do all those things. It's just not. That's what you've got teams for. That's what you've got. It's just like, it just helps everybody. It's not just helping yourself. It helps everybody. So it's awesome.
And there's abundance for everybody. So when I receive abundance, and let's say it's prosperity money, I have hired a virtual assistant, so I'm helping pay her bills. No different than if you go to the grocery store for your fruits and vegetables, you're helping to pay those salaries and helping that business stay alive. So it's a giving and receiving, right? It's the same in coaching. Get help.
There was a question that was brought recently. I was listening to something because I listened to lots of somethings, but it was talking about, what if when you wake up, you're really back in the dream? What if when I wake up in the morning, this is a dream right now? And it's like, and you think about that, we were talking about the other night, it's like, what does that actually entail? What does that mean? That means there's no fear because you're just in a freaking dream, right? There's nothing. What do you have to fear? Nothing. What are your limits? Nothing. Because in dreams, like, I play with energy, I move things, I jump higher than buildings. There's like all these things that are going, I play with electricity in my hands or communicate. I mean, all these things that are happening because in my dreams, it's kind of weird. Well, it's weird to me now. Well, not maybe weird. In the beginning, it was weird. And now it's like, okay, that's part of it. But I'm in my dreams processing stuff like, well, how is that happening right now? Last night I had a dream I was freaking pregnant. And I'm looking at my shirt and I'm wearing like a army green kind of color shirt. And this girl's like, your shirt looks really nice on you. And it's like, yeah, I wouldn't have worn this when I was younger because it was form fitting. And it's like, what? This is so like, which part is real and which part isn't? Because I'm processing stuff and the whole time and I'm questioning things. And then I'm like, why am I talking to her about when I was younger? I mean, what does that even matter? Like, I'm processing off. I'm involved in these dreams. I'm thinking, I'm just working through everything. I'm questioning things. And it's like, that's the same in the daytime, but it's like the daytime dreaming, I guess, the daydreaming. It's like, but how, and I guess I haven't figured that out quite yet. Just that release of just letting go, that this dream, while I'm in this part of my experience, why do I have these restrictions and stuff? And it's like, oh, maybe I don't have any of these restrictions. So it's making me question so many different things, which, and then I'm not going to go jump off a freaking mountain or anything like that. But like, well, shit, that didn't work out so well. It would probably be hilarious to jump from a freaking plane with no parachute. No, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But it's like, I think that I would do it in my dreams. So it's like because there's nothing to be afraid of. We've been taught fear for everything. Oh, be careful on that bike. You might fall. You better watch where you're going. You're going to fall down. Well, so what? If I fall down, I'm going to get back up and do it again. I got to figure it out, right? This is my dream. But it's just presenting more questions for everything. And if it is a dream, what are you creating? Because we've talked about that before. It's like, seriously, what are you creating right now? And that's kind of a big deal right now. It's like, are you focused on all the stuff that's going on and being upset by it? Or are you creating from that space like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to be like, I see everybody running around doing whatever they want and they're all happy. And it's like, nobody's hurting anybody else. And people are growing their own crops everywhere. They've got their own livestock that they're raising and selling. And they got their, all this stuff. I see everybody working together. you creating like all this business stuff, you know, and all the, even the coaching and stuff, but it's like that all goes together. It's like everything that we're doing right now is kind of creating who we are. It's like we just follow the bits and pieces, pick up the little kernels everywhere, and we figure out what we're going to be doing. And you're gonna be like, oh my God, why didn't I know that this is what I was going to be doing? It feels so great. I haven't gotten to that 100% yet at all. Probably not even, maybe 50%.
Working on
Okay.
it myself.
It's a work in progress, but it's just following those little tidbits, because it's like these are your passions, like these things you like. I think that a lot of the stuff, I mean, I feel like a lot of the stuff you do, you actually enjoy. You like that knowledge part of it. The business part, to me, it's like, oh, Jesus, someone's got my arm up behind my back and I can't turn my head. I'm stuck. I feel like I'm being a pretzel or something like that. It just doesn't feel, it's just not my draw. So it's like, I think it's awesome that you follow all
Lots of
that.
help.
But you follow it, and it is being open in all part of the process, because we're not alone. We're not. And then someone else is going through exactly what you're going through, and they answered, and it's like, wow, that was so cool. What if I didn't say anything at all and I kept quiet and I didn't? What if I didn't pursue any of these things that were pulling me in a direction to go listen to this podcast or this YouTube? What if? Because after I listened to it, it's like, holy crap, I'm okay. I'm all right. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with my body. There's nothing wrong with this. This is all clearing. This is happening to me because I'm telling you, I go through each chakra and I say, not each, the 7. Well, I do 9, but I do basic 7 of the major chakras. I go through them and I'm like, this chakra, the root chakra, is open and it's clear. And I'll lay there for a minute and stuff starts either popping forward, or I'll automatically be spurred to go on to the next one. And stuff's always coming out. Well, this is coming out because I'm releasing it. I'm opening it and I'm letting this stuff go. I'm not holding on to it anymore, but I'm witnessing it. Because I feel like it's important for us to witness these things. That's part of our evolution, to witness. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to be in that space anymore.
Yeah, we don't. We do not have to be in that space anymore. We choose to be there.
Exactly.
We choose. And that's been a huge word, like in everything I do. I just remind people, it's a choice. You have a choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes the choices that you have may not look rosy and wonderful, but we always have choices.
It's very true.
It's a matter of if you're very much just tired of what you've been doing, where you've been at with yourself, with life, with challenges. I mean, it's like you said, it's manifestation. We're creating, we create what we want to experience. And when you push that point, everybody's got a point where they just throw their hands up in the air and you're just like, I'm done. Okay. Then you define, what does that mean? It means I'm done with these people that I'm hanging around. I'm done with my behaviors, habits, patterns, belief systems. I'm done with whatever it is. And in that moment is a surrender of, I'm ready for a change. Because once you acknowledge, okay, I've just had enough. There's got to be something else. There's got to be something different. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a different direction. There's got to be other solutions. Now we're opening ourselves up to that information to come. As long as we're closed off and we're focused on what's happening in the world, in our world, meaning, in my own life, finances, career, health, relationships, home, environment, whatever, that as long as I keep my focus on that, then more of that just keeps coming up. Then it just seems like it never stops, and that life is against me, and it sucks, or whatever the story is. And you just surrender to it and go, there's more. There's something more. I don't know what it is. You don't have to have the answer. None of us has the answer. It's just allowing yourself to open up and know there is something more, there is something different. And then watch as the information comes, the guidance comes, the support comes, and help then it's a choice to receive that and utilize that information to move in a different direction with your life, or ignore it, put it on the bookshelf, act like it never came into your experience. I've had people do that. Just like, so yeah, it just, I feel like surrender is a huge word right now. There's still a lot of shifting and changing coming in our, not just in our nation, but in our world, on a great scale. So surrender, not surrender in being a pushover, or surrender to any kind of abuse, or I'm saying surrender to being done with your way of being if it doesn't feel good. And that's taking responsibility for yourself. Surrender to your way of being, to your way of looking at things, to your way of making decisions and choices that are unhealthy, and then start making shifts, be adaptable, flexible, and moving in a direction that feels better. And you're going to hear us say this, you hear us say this every single week. Do what feels good to you.
And if you don't, if that's like a weird, crazy concept, that means that you're not that aware of yourself. You're not aware about how you feel. Because I was there. I mean, I understand. I understand and very familiar with that path. Very familiar. I have been on that path for a long time, but it's like, it's just slowing down enough to pay attention to how you feel about things. Like you said, I've gotten to that point too. It's like, I am sick and tired of this shit. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it. Show me another way. I don't know what to do next. Show me something better. I just don't know. And I think a lot of times I'm not talking about our knowing that we just know things innately. I mean, the knowing that we've learned as we've grown through our life, or not grown, the tools that we picked up that may not necessarily be the best ideal tools. So it's really gaining more knowledge all the time. That's what gives you new tools, so that you can look at things a little bit differently, so you can pull back and not get so tied up or wrapped up in things. So you can we've talked about being neutral, so you can be in a place where you're not putting out an emotion towards something that you don't like or don't care. You're just witnessing it and then seeing it a bigger picture, or a picture without the blinders on, looking all the way around, like seeing stuff that's happening. A lot of the stuff may feel like doesn't feel good. Right. It doesn't feel that it doesn't feel good. Like if you put a lot of attention onto those things, and that right there is a clue that doesn't feel good. If you're walking in a house of someone, and I have clients, that luckily we don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV. It'll be 2 years sometime in, a little bit later in this year. So it's been probably about a year and a half. I watch movies on occasion, but it's like, if I don't like it, I just turn it off. If it doesn't feel good, I just turn it off. If it feels heavy and dark, I don't need to watch it. We just shut it down like that. But that's just having an awareness of how it feels. But what I was going to say, I've had clients that live together. One listens to the news all freaking day long, and the other one is like totally like repelled by it. Like, it's so, they want to push away from it. And I just constantly remind people how powerful we are to be in that higher vibration. Like, if it's bothering you, that means that you're not really in the higher vibration that you think you are right now. So bring your attention back to yourself, and it's like, how can I get my vibration higher? How can I, by vibration getting higher, how can I feel better? How can I feel even better than this? How can I feel better than just okay? How can I feel better than just peaceful? I say just peaceful. Peaceful is freaking amazing, but sometimes we want to go a little bit higher than that. What does joy feel like? What does this unconditional love feel like? It's just going through all those processes, but we don't know unless we start paying attention to how we're feeling with every little thing. So the person walks in the room and it's like, oh God, they're listening to this shit again. And I used to do that. I used to walk into a family member's house that once upon a time, and there would be news playing all the time, and I'd walk in and change it to something else. Maybe that, now that I think about it, kind of was maybe a little bit rude, but it's like, I just changed it. I just couldn't, for me to be over for that visit, it wasn't comfortable. And the person's already been listening to it for like 24 hours. They're not going to miss out on anything, that they can watch it again when I leave in an hour or whatever. But I would put it on because I even felt like it was bad for the dogs. And it's like, but is it bad for the dogs? Because if the dogs are in a higher vibration, they aren't even going to notice it. It's just But I wouldn't know, I wouldn't have these thoughts if I didn't take my time to pay attention to how I feel. And it's just taking time. It's just taking time and not beating myself up like, fuck, here we go again. Why are you doing this shit again, Bev? Like, why do you feel this way? Why are you hearing this stuff? Why are you letting it get to you? Or why, like, you're better than this, or whatever. And it's like, now I'm not even having those kind of conversations that you're better, because this doesn't mean I'm better than somebody else. I can rise higher than I was a minute ago. It has nothing to do with the other person, place, or situation, nothing.
Yeah, that like with your client, that news could just be a means of this doesn't feel good. What does feel good?
Exactly. Simple.
And then a choice. And when you get into choices, the choice may be get my own place. It's still a choice. It may not be doable at the moment. And so this is where we get hung up on things like that, well, that's a choice, but, right? But, and then every reason why I can't do it. I've been there. I still do it once in a while and come up with the excuses of why I can't. But like Bev was saying earlier, this is our own dream. We get to create through our imagination. And I'll share an example. I'm not going to tell you what's going on, but I'm going to share an example. A year ago, I did a 12-month spread with my cards, my angel cards. Okay. And what I'll do is, so we're in December, and so whatever, like if it was October, I would read October, November, December. And then in November, I'm reading November, December, right? So I'm reading whatever month I'm in, then I'm reading that month and then the rest of the year. So I had this one for this month. It says the power of creativity, recognition for very high quality work, be a team player, and then the word for the month is dreams. Okay, so I've been reading this all year. And of course, my human mind is saying, recognition for high quality work. What in the world is that going to be, right? My mind is trying to figure out, my human side is trying to figure out, how is this going to show up? In what way is this going to show up? Be a team player. That means I'm going to be on a team of some sort. I have no idea. That could be volleyball. That could be kickball. It could be, I don't know. I have no idea. Be a team player. I like, okay. And dreams. So on the power of creativity. Well, with business, I'm creative like every single day. So that wasn't really, that didn't really stand out to me, but the other things did. And let me put it this way. I'm on a very important team right now. And in a week or two, I will announce what that is. And it was allowing it to unfold. My human mind wants to know, what does this mean? What team are you going to be on? What are you going to be doing, right? My spirit says, be flexible, be adaptable, flow with the current. You'll know when it shows up, right? So just things like that was creating from my mind all year. Started in January, actually started last December, but all year I've been reading this, and here we are in December, and last week a big shift happened, and it wasn't me forcing anything, just and I read this every day I pick it up and I read it, and so it was that, it's the manifestation, the power of creation, that what I think about is going to come to me. Now, I could sit down with that. I could have sat down with that in January and wrote, okay, team player, what kind of teams do I want to be on? And get specific about what kind of teams I want to be on. And the team that I'm on right now would not have been in my wheelhouse. It wouldn't have been on the list. So when I do my 12-month card spread, this was the first year, actually. This year was the first, or last December was the first time I sat down and did a 12-month spread for myself for the entire year of 2021. And it's been very interesting journey that I've been reading these every day for 12 months now. And the things that have come to fruition I'm just like, whoa, that was cool. Right? Because then when I reflect back on the month of, okay, this was the message for that month, what showed up, I'm just like, wow, I would have never even thought of that. Not from a space of where I was when I pulled those cards.
Which is why it's so important to not try to control an outcome. It's like just being aware of, oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder what that means. Like, be curious about it. Don't
Right.
try to control it. That's wanting to see what the future is. That's where anxiety comes from, right? Oh God, I'm not even a team. I don't like to be on teams. I mean, the
Right.
opposite way. So trying to control it. If you would have said, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to be on that soccer team. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go out there and kick some ass. Well, that wasn't what the plan was. And now you changed the whole process of where you could have been, which
Right.
it's much bigger than the limiting thoughts. It's not controlling it. It's just not controlling it. It's just being aware of it. I was going to ask you when to do the next, because this is my first year of doing the same thing, doing the 12 card or, a 12-month spread, which it is awesome. And I think we did it before. I think it was, I don't even know when we talked about it. I don't even know when did you do yours last? Because I think we talked about it like right after that. Was it in December or November?
No, I did mine in December. It was at the end of the year. So it would have been like a week or two before the end. So mid-December,
Okay.
end of
Okay.
December, like a
So
week.
we're getting close. Okay. To do the next.
Yeah, I have it on my calendar to do my
Oh,
next
nice.
one. I think I'm gonna do it the last week of the month.
Okay.
So yeah, because we took pictures and
Yeah. And send them to each other.
yeah. So because some of them are similar. Some of them had similar messages, and we're like, whoa, so cool.
It is cool. And it's like, again, I remind people like the little messages that we left ourselves before we came here, like looking at what's your personal year of this next year, like look ahead and see what that is. And then also look back and see what it was, because it's like, holy shit, I was doing that. I even did that for Jim not that long ago. He was actually in the same year that I'm in right now last year. He was in a 7-year.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, to be a person. So you think about that on an energetic level. Let's just say that a person's in a 7-year and they're already very depressed as it is. And now you get into that place where your introspection and it's reflection, like everything is inside of you. You're like going in for everything. And that's like a rough place. And that's where it's so important for us to reach out to others, because it's like we can help tell you that you're okay. You're gonna get through this. And it's because then you're into the 8-year. So then you're into like abundance and creativity, all these things. I'll be going into the space that you've been in this year. I'll be
Yeah.
going into space this next year. So it's just interesting. And of course, there was a lot of growth in his personal life that I think that's what helped him to go on. Which brings me to another thing, and I might misquote this. My oldest daughter had a dream. So she's digging up these shells on the beach, and that her daughter is there, and she's like opening up shells, and they got amethyst inside of them, and she's like handing them to her daughter, and she's like, go take them to grandpa. So her dad was in the picture, Jim was in the picture, and he's like, she said something he said something to her like, not everybody gets the luxury of dying. So it's so like, it was so huge. That's so huge. That's big, because a lot of people are, might be in a struggle, and we talk about heaven and hell, but you can have your own personal hell while you're in this experience here, by not allowing yourself to grow forward, by really restricting yourself, by limiting yourself, thinking that things have to be a certain way. You can't see outside of this place. And so that's like to me, that's hell. That's hell. And it's like people can live like that for years and years and years, and they don't even realize that there's a possibility for something else. So I thought it was I just thought that was so profound to have said something. And she says, I know, but I just miss you, which I totally get, right? I totally get if we're looking for someone in the same sense that we had them before with like an expectation they're going to be there. That's limiting again. That's, to me, that's limiting. If you think that they only can be there in the flesh in these skin suits, that's not the way it works. So it's like it's just there's such a huge growth that goes on when you experience the someone else's, departure from the physical. So it's just like such a growth, but it was just such a huge, to me, that's a huge statement to make, to say that it was he's lucky. He's lucky that he didn't have to stay in that space or that mindset, but he also was evolving at that time too, while he was here, growing relationships and trying to have a better relationship with some people. But again, you can't have a better relationship with someone if you're in a higher space and they just can't see it right now, and it's all right. You just love them anyways from a healthy distance sometimes. So
Yeah, and then also we attempt to have better relationships with other people, but we don't have a better relationship with ourselves.
yes, or not trusting, right? If I don't trust people, it's not about the freaking people that are in my experience, because that's again a mirror, and the mirror that means I don't trust myself. I don't trust the decisions I've made. I don't trust that I'm going to make the right decisions. That's that trust. There's so much more to it. It's so easy to look in outside of us and see this person's doing this to me, but it's like you're doing it to yourself. You're in this place, and it's like these are the simple things. It's very simple. It's just looking at it a little bit differently, and it's not looking at it from a victim standpoint. And if you are, that's okay too. But at some point, you're going to say, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And then you're going to go through different phases. You're going to go through different experiences that are going to help you grow through this stuff, so you don't feel like you're so limited. So you get a surprise at the end of the year, that you didn't think was going to happen, but like, wow, this is what's happening. So, I mean, let the freaking universe surprise and delight you, right? It's enjoying the journey. We've listened to Abraham Hicks for a long time. And it's just, it's always been about enjoying the journey. And if I didn't know before what that meant, I do now. Because it's not about like, you're looking at that, knowing to dream and, knowing to whatever, you just had an experience. I'm going to be on this team. And it's like, okay, but you didn't try to limit it. You're like, surprise and delight me. I'm going to enjoy this journey. Even though I did this 12-month spread, I'm going to enjoy this journey through the whole thing. And even there's been some stuff that you had experienced that it kind of pointed like it could have been a rough situation or a bad situation. But it's a choice. And if you choose to see things from a different perspective, from a higher perspective, it doesn't hurt or it doesn't hit you as hard. And you kind of like go through it like, wow, okay, that experience showed up for me, but you know what? I made it through and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself and I learned a lot about other people. So it's like there's such a gift to be had. And I never had done that 12-month reading until last year with you as well. And it's like, it's been pretty freaking awesome. It really does. And it's like, does it pave the way? Was it the creator of this, our minds being allowing for this stuff, or was it already written? You know what I mean? Was it already this was already meant to happen this way? I don't know. I would say that it was meant to happen this way. And I feel like, because I like doing cards too. And when we're open and receptive, excuse me, then to that card, instead of trying to control it or limiting it by any of our thoughts, then we're open to like, okay, well, that sounds a little bit scary, but maybe it's not so scary. And then going on this journey, because fear is not serving us. Fear is like, if someone's chasing me with a gun, I'm probably going to run or shoot back. There's, get to safety. But to me, that otherwise if you're in fear, you're constantly trying to create this place. Someone said recently, if you're constantly creating worst case scenarios all the time, you're in fight or flight. You're constantly in fight or flight. So you're just constantly thinking of worst case scenario so that you can react as need be. And it's like, you don't have to be that. We don't have to be in that space. There's no reason to be in fight or flight. When you're sleeping at night, there's no reason to be in fight or flight. Be aware. Know that we always have these guides. We always have these. I mean, not everyone can believe all that stuff. We have angels and spirits and aliens and extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call everything. We've got everything around us all the time supporting us. All the time.
There's a very well-known business coach. speaker, teacher, author. And one of his things that he does as his process is he goes through what's the worst that could happen. So if he's on a stage speaking, what's the worst that could happen? And he would play the scenario out in his head, like his imagination. And then he says, and it's a good thing I did this, because this one time I thought, what was the worst thing that could happen? And somebody in my audience has a medical emergency. Well, he gets up on stage, sure enough, somebody has a stroke. And so because he played it through in his head that it all worked out and the help was there immediately and all that, it was good. And he felt relief. From my perspective, if you're playing it out in your head, then you're manifesting it, like it's you're creating it, and you're bringing that into your experience. So I would be like, what if it's the most incredible speech I'd ever done? The audience is moved, everything is smooth, everyone gets along, it's great connections in the audience, people are exchanging numbers and creating new friendships, new business opportunities. Like, what if all of that, right? And that feels a whole lot better in my body to think that way than, oh, well, what if my zipper's undone, or, just something crazy, I got a booger in my nose or something, because then it's, there you go. You can get up on stage, you got a booger in your nose and cameras on your face, right?
Yeah.
So, so that used to be one of my fears. And now I'm like, oh, please, I'm good. Everything, I look great. Speech is great. The audience is moved, right? So it's having a whole different, because I have over the past couple of years, and I've talked about it quite a bit, is my manifestation skills. I'm very aware when I think something, like you said earlier, it's coming into fruition very quickly.
Yeah.
So I have been more aware of that. I've been doing this my whole life, but it's been all fear-based. It's all been survival mode, fight or flight, because of that what if avenue. What if this bad thing happens, or what if that bad thing happens? Same thing, but it was very fear-based. A lot of stress in my body about it. And so in the past couple of years, I have been very aware, awake, and acknowledging. I just thought about that and it just happened. Like instant stuff.
Yes.
I did it with my last week. I went to the chiropractor. And so I have my calendar on my phone. I put everything on my calendar. And she's not even looking at me. She's over at her desk and she says, okay, so let's schedule your next appointment. And she's like, thinking out loud, what day would be good? I didn't answer her. I'm looking at my calendar and I'm like, December 16th. In my head, I never said a word. I just like, December 16th would be really good. And she goes, hey, how about December 16th at whatever time? I was like, yep, perfect. I've done it with my husband. He'll ask a question or say something, and in my head I think about something in response, but I don't say it, and then he'll say it. So, and then other external experiences that have happened, and I'm just like, we need to be really good about what we're thinking about, because this is happening really fast. And it was happening really fast before. I just wasn't consciously aware of it.
Oh no, it's faster
I know now, right?
Yeah, it even seems faster. It seems faster now. Like it's pretty immediate. It is pretty immediate. Because I've caught myself and it's like, ooh, why did I even think? And then, why did I let myself go? And it's like, yeah. Also I'm noticing, and I've been noticing it for a while, but it seems to be happening all the time now, is time. Time is crazy. Like I could be massaging a person or doing something, and it's like the time stops.
Yep, I
There's
had
like no
that
time.
happen the other day.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it might be that, like, where the hell did the time go? Like it went by so fast, because time it's moving. I think it's just a way of letting us know that time really isn't such the factor that we've been led to believe that it is, which I know it isn't on outside of the earth. If there's, I mean, as far as my beliefs are, there is no time is not a factor, but it's like time is becoming less of a factor now. If you have a general idea of when you would like to do things, things kind of just work out for you and get you into that place because that's you're creating the whole time, right? You're manifesting. But I'm noticing that, and then sometimes it goes like holy shit, how is it? Man, I've already done all this part, and it's like, why am I only right? You know, why am I? I'm almost done. You know, so it's like, what is going on? And it's just kind of interesting because that's how time has been. It's just not. It's just not the same as it used to be at all. It's just not. It just seems to be. It's either going super slow. It's gone fast. Like it was crazy to me. It's like it was Sunday again, and we're going into Mondays. Like, where the hell? Like, where did all this time go during the week? It's just kind of, there's just, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just, we're just in a different place altogether.
Yeah, I feel like I've been doing something for like an hour, and I look at the clock and it's only been, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then not being tired, right? And not being tired, like I'll lay down and it's like, my eyes are like open, I'm looking around, I'm thinking. And so I'll go through my processes that I normally go through or whatever I'm guided to. But it's things are just, I don't know. Things are definitely in a different place.
And there's a lot of galactic things going on too. So we have a comet that's going around like till Christmas. We just had a solar eclipse. We weren't able to see it in North America, but in the Southern Hemisphere. We have the winter solstice coming. Jesus. Just like there's so much happening energetically out in the ethers that of course that affects us too. Of course it does.
And also we think about time, right? So because I think that you've experienced the same thing. There's a lot of stuff from childhood that we don't remember. What if we weren't the original occupant from birth? Like what if we were drop-ins after that? So it's like my mind's just kind of processing a lot of stuff. Why? Maybe I'm not supposed to remember that stuff. Maybe I dropped in after that. Maybe because there's something that we're to do that's bigger than that, or I don't know. It's just been a process to me because it's like I kept trying to reach for these things. I see pictures and I'm like, oh, I remember this. I remember that time frame from a picture, but I don't remember the time frame. I just remember the picture. So I can kind of go to that energy of that space. So then it just made me start wondering, that was last night, like, what if we aren't going to remember because it wasn't us that was having those experiences? Maybe we had to have some things I've heard differently. A lot of times women will have miscarriages because there's not a vibration to this being that's coming in. There's such a high vibrational being. It's not that the mom's doing anything wrong. It just can't survive in this energy. They've never been here before or whatever is happening. So it just presented more questions to me. It's like, then maybe you have to have a lower vibrational energy that comes in sometimes, and then maybe we bounce in afterwards. I don't freaking know. I think that there's so many things that are possibilities that it's like, for me, it's like being open to all those possibilities, that I don't feel limited. I don't feel stuck. I don't feel like somebody's keeping something from me. None of that kind of stuff. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just presenting more possibilities that are, out there.
And who's to say, right?
I don't know.
Everybody's teaching from their own experiences and from the way they know how to explain it, or from their modality of healing, what's worked for them. And so what I've been through and what I've used to help me do some healing, emotional healing, isn't the same as what Bev uses or my friend down the street or anybody else. It's like, we find what works for us, utilize it. And connected to different people, teachers, speakers, authors. And it's everybody, we're evolving. We know that.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
evolving as humans. We're evolving because so many people are understanding the other side, understanding that there is a connection, that there is communication, that we are energetic beings, and energy can't be destroyed. And so it's, I can't say if somebody else's experience with aliens or anything else is true or not. I don't know. It's not my story. I haven't experienced it. Maybe I have. I don't remember. Who knows, right? So, yeah, possibilities. I'm interested in learning. I'm open to hearing. It's learning also to release judgment.
Yeah.
Right? To judge somebody for their crazy ass story that's not even in your thought process. And when somebody presents something to me that I've not heard, I'm like, oh, that sounds intriguing, or that sounds interesting, or I'd like to learn more about that, or I'd like to hear more about. So yes, dropping the judgment and just be open. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some people that may be a little out there that you just can't resonate with, and that's cool. So, but be open to hearing.
Yeah. To me, it helps question. So for me, I don't believe in all this stuff. Like I even had a client that was like, I think that when we die, that's it. The lights are out. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
And I didn't, it's not that I judged it or anything like that. Just like you were saying, I didn't hold it into a judgment, but what I did is it made me question like, well, what if it was like that? Is it really like that? So then I start asking questions, and it's like, I don't want anyone to just believe me. I don't believe just any of this stuff either. And I just go with whatever you resonate with. But for me, it just helps me ask questions. Well, what if it was like that? What if I was a drop-in? What if some people are drop-ins? What if, there's just so many different things that they talk about that just before I would have been like, no, we all pick our parents. This is how it goes, and this is whatever. But I think that sometimes there's a need for an evolution or something to be a change here. And the only way to manifest that, or I almost want to say control, but it's not, to manifest what their outcome is that they want instead of the opposite of that outcome, let's say the destruction of the world or something like that. You'll have people that drop in, they just drop in to certain time frames because they have this knowledge, they haven't forgotten, or they remember more of the stuff, and then they can help guide other people. So to me, it just helps me it just creates questions, because I used to be the person that I thought I knew, right? I'm going to be independent. I can do all this by myself. I don't need anybody's fucking help. I don't need anything. I got this.
Right.
And it's like, I've opened up more to that. And it's like, it's giving people the opportunity to stand in their power, for them to be strong. There's just so many different things that happen when we decide to let go of all that control. So there's just an awesome thing that happens. And then it's just being in a place of asking questions. I question everything. Well, what if there are aliens? What do they do? What if there are praying mantis people? Well, what do they do? Are they good? Are they bad? How do they feel? Like I'm asking all these questions because it's like I'm just curious. Because I think that's what we're here for. We're here to be curious. We're here to create. We're here to evolve. And we're all gonna go through this place. We're all going to evolve. We're all gonna get to the same place. There's no one that's better than anybody else.
Right.
We're all gonna get there in different ways, and and it's our experience is good for the next person that comes along that was supposed to be in your experience, to gain this knowledge, to know they're not alone, to know that they're not crazy, that everything's fine, and it feels better.
That's what we ultimately want, is just to feel better.
Yeah.
Feel good. Awesome. So cool. I love it.
We're in a good time. Yeah, we're in a great time.
Every week we come and we share our questions, our insight, our wisdom, our struggles. So we appreciate your time and energy for hanging out with us. And thank you, Bev, for being here every week and participating in the conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. This is our own therapy session, so we just thought we would, share it with everybody else.
That's right.
So if there's a topic or question, if you're asking questions or you want help or guidance about something, then send it to us at amieandbev@gmail.com. It's AMIEANDBEV@gmail.com. Also, you may know somebody who would benefit from these conversations. So you could let them know or share the information that we're on YouTube, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict. And this is shared in the on several Facebook groups and pages that we're associated with. And it's Amie and Bev is a page, Amie and Bev Community is a group. Amy Wade, Emotional Resiliency Coach, is my business page. So you can for sure find us in many, many areas and platforms. So any closing thoughts or words from you, my dear?
No, just have a great week. Start questioning everything.
Man,
Go live
ask
some life. Go live your life like it's a dream. And what would you do differently?
Yeah. And then ask questions. Asking questions doesn't necessarily mean to another person. It could be to source, God, universe, angels, your deceased loved ones, whoever, just putting the question out there into the universe and see how the guidance comes and be open to it.
Absolutely.
That's fun.
That's awesome.
That's why Bev keeps asking questions. Ooh.
About everything.
All right, my friends, make it a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.